Welcome, 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 everybody. My name is Neil Thrussell with bestucanb, and I'm really super excited to have Robert Clancy, and for me, otherwise known as Master Clancy, with us today, and my sidekick and friend and mentor and teacher and tormentor and guy that I love to hate and hate to love, Jamie Adamchuk. Welcome, man.
All right. All good. And yes, so what he's alluding to is we have a little bit of martial arts history there. So I think I outrank him a little bit, but he's a better runner than me because I couldn't keep up with him. So it's all good. It all balanced out.
That's exactly right. Everything complements everything. Welcome everyone to the show today. We are so incredibly excited and so incredibly blessed to have Robert come on with us. Now, many of you've been following us for some time. You know, we did a little project a couple of years ago. We got into a little bit of a project. We shared some stuff, and we were so lucky to have Robert come on with us as one of our main key guests, one of our very first guests, actually. So today, we're just so happy to have you back, Robert. Thank you so much for making the time.
Well, it's an honor to be here with you guys, and the energy you guys bring is always good, and especially today because I'm going through a lot. There's a lot of personal things, a lot of we're all dealing with, so I'm not going to do the poor me, but it's needed, and it's just really good to be able to connect with everyone and see some faces, because it's like we haven't seen each other in a while. We've communicated a little text here and there, but it's always good to see a face.
Absolutely. And this year has been a poop show or a shit show for so many people. But this has been an even crazier year from you. You went from the East Coast to the West Coast, and things are up in the air. But yet, in all of it, you found a way to keep some form of semblance of normalcy and find the calmness within you. And I've been following you on Facebook, and it's been beautiful because it appears that you found time just to go for a walk on the beach.
Right. And that's part of it. And I do that every morning. And I saw some beautiful sunrises. I've gone down there at the sunset. I see the surfers are out there before me. They're getting in that cold water. I'm like, I'm having no part of that. But, I started the walks when I was on the East Coast. And, I was swimming about 20 laps in an Olympic pool. I'd go in the jacuzzi was my reward, and then steam room, and then head into the office. And, that was my routine. And then things unraveled in my personal life. And then the other part was COVID happened, and the pool shut down. You can't go in there. So I'm now stuck, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I had this really good exercise routine. I kind of got myself. I've been working on this for like 2.5 years and getting in shape. And I just started walking. I said, I just need to get outside. I started going stir crazy, and I started seeing things. So I got an interesting story of what happened. So I'm walking along, and I'd see some people, and they're always on the other side of the road. And it was kind of it was out in the wooded area, but there was a lot of traffic, so it was a little dangerous sometimes, on there, depending on the time of day. But I'd see this guy go by, and he'd always be smiling, big smile, and he's waving, and we'd always, just kind of yell at him across the road and all those things. And just before I moved, it was literally about the day before I moved. I'm doing my last walk, and I'm kind of contemplative, and I'm like, oh my God, this is my last one here. And what am I going into? I'm moving 3,000 miles, and I don't even have a plan. I don't even know. And there's that guy. This time was different. He goes like this, come over to my side of the street. And so we're standing there. We were socially distanced, but, talking. And he said, what do you do? You're in construction, aren't you? And I said, no, I'm not in construction. I'm an author. He goes, well, you always have those big boots on. I'm like, because I like the extra weight, because I get an extra workout. And so he's talking, and then he said, he's like, oh, really? Well, what's your books? And I started telling him one of the inspirational stories from my books. And he said, what do you think I do? And I said, I don't know. I thought you might work at like an office plex or something. He said, I'm a priest. I'm Father Joe. And we got walking, and he said, so you got this big move. when was the last time you went to confession? I said, it's been a long time. He goes, well, we're doing it today. He said, I want you to be clear when you travel. That's a blessing. It just happens. And this guy with the big smile, and he's waving at all the cars. He like, go, you stand over here. I don't want you over here because it's not safe for you. I want you on that side, and over here. I'll like he was going to take a car if it swerved off the road for me.
Yeah.
And you don't know. And so we exchanged emails. I ended up sitting at his house. He's like, okay, let me get 2 chairs. We put 2 chairs on his porch. He said, you got a few minutes, and we sat there. I did my confession, and he's like, turns to me, he said, have you been in a house recently with angels? I said, no. He opens his door. He said, just poke your head in there. His entire house is filled with angel statues. Wow. And paintings.
Cool.
And he said, you're blessed and keep going. These are things that happen, and you got to pay attention to those little moments. And I guess during COVID, you have all of that. And it's just amazing that you have those experiences and you're not expecting it. And that's the beauty of it.
Absolutely. So you alluded to the book. Your most recent one that has gone international bestseller is called Soul Ciphers. What was the other one that you had written?
The most recent one, that was my just prior to, and then The Messenger is my most recent book. And there's a short story in Soul Ciphers that I expanded to the full book because I needed to tell the whole story. And that's actually my personal journey of what happened to me and my divine experience and going through life. And, it's something I kept a secret for 30 years. It's very personal to me. I didn't even tell my parents until my mother was on her deathbed. She was unconscious at the time that I told my father that night of what happened to me. And, I'm a programmer. I'm a digital person. I'm a logic person. And I can't deny, my first time meditating, and I had I was at the lowest point of my life. I had lost friends to suicide, and just my life was unraveling at that time. And I went off the rails, and I was self-medicating. I was drinking and putting prescription drugs, and nobody knew I was doing all this. And this waitress in the restaurant I worked in, she called me over because I'd spent a night in the hospital. Not a night in the hospital, but I got sent to the hospital in the ambulance because I had collapsed at my house. And she said, I know what you're doing. You need to stop because you're going to kill yourself. And she said, put your hand out. And she put this pamphlet on it, and it was how to do prayerful meditation, how to meditate. And she said, you go home and do this, and I don't want to see you out at the bars. I don't want to see you doing any of this stuff. You go right home. So 3 hours, I challenged God. I said, if I don't see something tonight, I'm done. And if you exist, heal me. And I started this meditation, and then about 3 hours in, a light, flickered, and I opened my eyes, and something was shining on the wall. And I was like, this was a complete waste of time. Like, I thought it was from my window. I moved the curtain, and I realized that the light was actually coming from the wall. And I waved my hand in front of it, and it was up near where the ceiling and wall meet. And it was in this black, almost like a space, like hole, but I didn't touch it. It was just weird. And I sat there, and I could see it with my eyes open or closed. Well, this is what I told my father that night. I said, Dad, I hope you believe me, but an angel actually, it looked like a butterfly opening up, and this entity came in through the hole, opened up to the size of the room, and it was hovering above me, a 7-foot angel. And I know what I saw because I could see this with my eyes open or closed. And it got right in my face. So I guess that's God's answer. You want to see? How's that?
I'll show you.
It's right here.
Yeah.
And she touched me in the forehead. And I mean, the only way I can describe my life since then is I looked in the mirror at a 19, 20-year-old person with the entire sort of knowledge of their life, but not fully accessible, but it was all there. It was like, hot tub time machine. You're going back into yourself, but my future self came into the young, and I could see, and I understood things that, and then the words started coming into me, and I've written like 67,000 inspirational words on my Facebook page. And, I can just share a couple of my favorites because they're just permanently burned into my soul. But it's one of my favorites, and I share this one all the time, and it's word for word. I can just, I can rattle them off, but I'll try to pause a little bit in between because I can just go one after another. But of all the journeys of life, you'll encounter valleys of despair and mountains of hope. Just know that the heavens are above the valleys and the mountaintops touch them. To reach the summit, take one hope-filled step past your fear, doubt, and worry. All hearts come in one size, large. Make sure yours is filled with love and compassion. And when it overflows with love and compassion, it may accidentally spill over onto others. You may reach with one hand, or you may reach with two, but when you reach with your heart, you'll touch everyone. This is one of my all-time favorites just because of the visual, because all these are stored almost as pictures in my mind, and I can access them like cards. But this is my all-time favorite one because it's around love. It's love has no walls, thus it cannot be conquered. Love has no boundaries, thus it is always open. And love has no limits, thus it has no end. And it really has no beginning either. It's just is. And it's like the love is the very thread that holds the fabric of the universe together. And sometimes it's the only thing holding your universe together. And I try to go there, and I'm human. I fall into my same emotional traps. I had a divine experience. I know what I saw, and I run into people that say, hey, I heard God speak. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure you did. But, I can't say they didn't because of what happened to me. And it, I wish everyone on this planet had that opportunity to do what, and see what I saw. And I think you can. I think you can because it's there. I mean, I haven't had anything as vivid as that since, and I wish I did. But I have felt the presence of something greater than us every day since.
Sweet.
And how good is that? You made the time, you made the space. So long ago when you were that young man to be able to have that experience right now that has really led up to this place in your life and beyond, and for all that's next, you allowed yourself to be open to it. And I think there's some real magic in that, because all too often, we hear it's like, yeah, God's not talking. You haven't heard anything. But I think that's a closed-minded approach.
Yeah.
What happens when we actually open ourselves up to, even for a moment, believe?
Yeah. And, I get those words, faith, love, and hope. And I see them as a triangle. And in the center is peace. And there's a circle that goes around that triangle because that's a model of the universe. And it has no beginning and end. A circle doesn't. It's got infinity in it too, because it has pi. The number pi is in it, which starts with that 3. Yeah. There's something in the math of all this too, and the logic of it. So that's my mind trying to solve the puzzle. Some of it, I will get there, and my brain, it's almost like the computer shuts down because it's too much information and we can't process it all. Yeah. But yeah, it's looking for the signs, and I asked for signs. And that day that I was leaving, I asked for a sign. Yeah. I said, I need to know, let me know on this walk, show me something. Yeah. And sometimes it's really weird, but this little yellow bird came out of nowhere and was on the road hopping along in front of me. Yep. Things like that, it's just, and I had one here, a bright blue bird in the morning. It was like 6:30, and this bright blue, I've never seen a bird that blue in my life. I don't know, if you're in the tropics maybe, but this thing was just blue, and it came out of nowhere, and it was just sitting there on the ground, and it just flew up. And I've had hummingbirds come and cross and do things in front of me, like hovering here, and then and you're like, okay, I don't know if that's a sign, but I'll take it.
And this is, and not to take away from the stories, but this is pretty amazing considering you are, or were, we'll say, the 20-year-old was a left brain leaning logical thinker. To be completely be opened to an experience of this magnitude for a left brain thinker probably shook your world a little bit is probably the nicest way to say it.
They don't line up. That's for sure. It makes sense, and then it makes no sense, and then it makes all sense. So yeah, and there's things that we're not aware of. That's what I was left with, that there's something greater. And with this whole experience that even with what are the lessons, and I'm still learning my lessons, it's just being taken through that almost the same experience again now in a whole different way. It's like different in the sense that the last time it happened, when my life unraveled and things were falling apart, I was in the tsunami. Now I'm on a mountain watching the tsunami clear everything.
Yep.
And moving was quite interesting because I didn't take any furniture. I gave away a lot of things and sent them where they needed to go. So I had all my family pictures I've been carting from location to location over many years. Yep. And I decided, you know what, this needs to go to our family archivist. So I contacted my youngest cousin, and she just and she'll distribute and get those where they need to go. And, just different people, and went to my friend's house and said, here's all these game systems and things. You guys take this, and the kids are going to have fun, just like go with it. And I got my life down to just a few boxes, from a house full of stuff, a business and building full of stuff, down to just some boxes and just the clothes. And since walking, by the way, that was really easy to purge a lot of clothes because none of my suits fit me after COVID, because I'm down to like a 34, 33, 32 inch waist, and they look like Uncle Fester suits. So all my suits were gone. The only thing that fit was slim fit. And I finally had, the funeral I went to, I put the pants on, and if I wasn't wearing a belt, they would have dropped to my ankles. And it was 34 inch skinny fit, like slim fit pants. Wow. So it's a good way to purge everything, and it's all gone.
And how much better is it now with that simplistic life, that much more simplistic life with all that extra stuff? How much better is that?
It is better, but it's also an adjustment. So, I'm still assessing, where that is. And it just feels, I still have more stuff to go. It feels like I have to get rid of some more things, and I'm, selling some more stuff that I brought out here on eBay, but or Craigslist, and I still have a couple pieces of furniture that are going today and tomorrow, selling remotely. But it's better in the sense that I don't have to all those things anymore, and it's just, you don't have to worry about that stuff and where it is and why it's piled up in the basement, and you come across it, and it's easier to find things in one sense.
But the important thing is, well, it won't fit anymore. Because one of the wonderful things that I love about Robert is his ability, his desire to do charity work. And you put on a superhero's costume a couple times and went into the children's hospitals and brought some cheer into it. Hopefully, you can find a Superman whatever costume again. And
I have it. It's Spider-Man. And it still fits me. So
I actually didn't wear it to the show today.
It fits better now. I could have worn it. But yeah, that was a long story. I had a friend of mine whose son wanted me to dress up as Spider-Man. And I went, oh no, I'm not doing that. And he said, well, the guy that was supposed to come quit, and I got a professional theatrical costume, and it doesn't fit me. Otherwise I'd do it. And I said, okay, so I'll go to the party. I put it on. He goes, no. My son's smart. He'll figure it out. He'll know it's you. And I said, I went kicking and screaming. So I said, all right, drop it off. And I waited till no one was home, and I put this thing on, and I walked past the mirror, and I was like, wait a minute. I think I can do Spider-Man here. So I said, all right, it fits. And I said, what time at your house? And he said, no, it's at one of those Chuck E. Cheese places. And I went, oh my God. So I got to go there. I'm wearing a leotard and kids and stuff. And what ended up happening was I went in and they announced it, and the kids went crazy. They thought I was Spider-Man. And the big thing was he didn't want his son to figure out it was me, that he would never know. And so I'm with them all, and they're all I'm like a giant Spider-Man teddy bear or something. They pulled me down to the floor, and the kids are hanging on my neck, and this one kid's telling me everything that I've ever done. He's like, I've seen all your movies. I've been there, and I know all the villains and all that. And one kid finally turns, and he looks right into my mask, and then he turns to everybody and he says, I know who he is. And I knew the kid too, and the child. And I said, hey, Johnny, let's not tell our Spider-Man's name. And I look over at my friend, and he's looking at me going, oh no. And I said, it's not my fault. I didn't do it. And he says, I'm telling everybody. He finally gets all the kids in the group and they're all their attention. And he turns and he says, he's Peter Parker. And at that moment, I became Spider-Man. And I gathered them all in and I said, do you know what the most powerful word in the whole universe is? And they're all like, eyes are going big. I said, it's love. And I said, do you need to give your parents a hug every night, and you need to take out the garbage and do your homework. And, they're going, oh yeah, homework, good. I got a hug. Love is good. Take care of my little brother or sister and all that. And then I had to go out to the car and change. And I came back in, and I'm just a regular Joe now, and all the parents were lined up. And this one mother came over to me, and she put her arms around me, and she said, that was the most beautiful thing someone's ever done for my child. And she said, you are a superhero. So then I ended up, at Halloween or something, and a woman from the children's hospital that you were alluding to, and she said, oh, would you mind coming in and doing that with us? And I said, sure. So I went several times to there and also to Ronald McDonald House. And that was pretty poignant because there were some kids that we couldn't go and actually into the room, and a little boy had died right when I got there. And, that hit you. This little girl's in there, and I can't see because the room's dark, and I got that Spider-Man, the vision's not quite as good with the costume on. And she's going like this and pointing at her heart and blowing me kisses. And the nurse is describing what's going on. And I had the nurse, I wrote something on a card, and I handed it to her, and she brought it into the little girl, and she read it to her, and it said, all superheroes have one thing in common. They never, ever, ever, ever give up on hope. Yeah. And the director of the hospital was standing there. He said, I will never forget this moment. And he didn't know who I was because, I dressed and I was full on the costume from the minute I got out of my car to driving out of there. People were going, oh, my God, Spider-Man's driving over cars. So it was about 3 months later. I'm at a Make-A-Wish black tie event, and I see this guy, and I recognize him. I'm like, hey, you work at the children's hospital? And he's like, yeah. I go, yeah. I'm like, the superhero day when the thing. And he goes, oh my God, you're Spider-Man. I went, shh.
Don't tell anyone.
He said, and he still remembered that moment. He said that I'll never forget that moment. So he did. And he was truth, be told, he did remember that moment of that little girl. And there's many moments like that, and you can't put a price on that. And right when COVID happened, I was supposed to go in, and we couldn't because it was literally at the day COVID was breaking. They had to cancel this event that I was supposed to go to. And so I was thinking maybe there's a way I could virtually do that, and they can pipe me in, bring me around on a FaceTime or something.
Yeah, iPad or something like that. Wouldn't that be great?
I got my my den here. I got secret Spider-Man lair here. I'm in my lab. That's where I am.
Exactly. It could kind of look like a web behind you.
Yeah, it does. This could work. I think I could make this work.
It's beautiful. I met you shortly. I think I met you when you were just promoting, I don't know whether it was your first, second, or third book, but it was The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Soul.
Yeah, that was my first book.
And what's that about?
Yeah, that's a series of short stories. Actually, one of them is the Spider-Man stories in that book. And all the things. So I wrote down, I just started writing back in 2008, and it took about 4 years on and off of writing. And I wasn't, a writer per se. I figured, well, if Jackson Pollock can splatter some paint on a canvas, I can splatter some words on a page and let somebody else fix it later. And don't let that stop me. And whatever I start, I finish. And that's really the thing is whatever you begin, you need to bring it all the way through and carry it through.
Absolutely.
What's the secret to being able to do that for yourself, your own personal secret to take something from whatever phase it's at, whether it's just starting, whether you're hopping into it in the middle, and ensuring that you get complete success, get that completion out of it?
Well, I think one of the things is you're not worried about complete success. And sometimes you just got to accept whatever happens. Sometimes you're trying to make something, like if you built models or, glued something and it went wrong and there's a flaw, you just kind of move on from that. And it's the same when I'm writing. There might be a flaw and you come back and like, oh my God, I should have written it that way, or I could have, this word's a typo in there. You just got to let go of that stuff and not be so perfect and just kind of get it done and do the best you can. And, I also have this other motto, if you have to do it again, do it better. And sometimes you have to take a phase 2 on something. I've had files get lost, a computer hard drive go, you lose whatever it is. So it's coming across that, and that's part of it. And I think that's one of the things, is letting go of that. You have to have a success. It's good to aim high, but you may fall a little short, but that's okay because you finished. And think about a marathon runner. There are people that didn't win and there are people that didn't finish. But I guarantee you, everybody that ran that marathon that finished won.
Yep, exactly. And see, what I love about that is people's meanings that they put behind words. See, to me, success is getting it done. It's not about the billions of dollars or anything like that. When I get it done, it's like, I completed. I am successful in doing what I set out to do. Not the money, not the sales, not any of that. Just truly getting that part done. So I'm so glad that you elaborated on that, because that's really setting up that meaning. Is it the millions of dollars, or is it the complete, total, absolute satisfaction that you can get from saying, done.
And it could be the $1 million, whatever that is. If you achieve that, that's great, but that may not be the save all end all. And it's really setting your own personal goals. And I've talked to Olympians. I've just amazing athletes and those things. And how many times do they fail before they succeed? And that's really, you just keep going. And perseverance, as you know, in the martial arts journey, Neil, it's perseverance is one of the words. And I'll tell you right now, there were people in my class that were 10, 50, or 100 or 1,000 times better than me. Always natural athletes, could do all the stuff and kick better than me, jump and do these crazy things. And I was like, I'd love to be able to do that. I'm not as coordinated or whatever those things were, but I kept trying. And, I even got knocked out during a Taekwondo match. I messed up my knee. I broke my thumb, and I had a guy next to me, and we were sparring that night, and we got pretty racked up in there, and he took his helmet off. Remember, he's like, and he's like, I'm done. And I went, no, I think we have another match after this. And he went, no, I mean, I'm done. I went, like, you're one of the best students we have. He quit. That was it. He walked out. He was like a purple belt, just done.
Yeah.
And I made it, thank God, to 6th degree black belt in one martial art and 4th degree in another. And a lot of people dropped to the wayside. And what corrected my balance, so this is another thing, setbacks. I got vertigo about maybe 14 years ago. It's around the time I was getting prepping for my 3rd degree test, 6 months away from my 3rd degree test. And I'm like, I can't even see for 4 days. I'm just throwing up, and you open your eyes or any sound, and it was like you're on a tilt-a-whirl. And I went to the specialist. They had to do stuff. They gave me Valium or something that stopped the spins. And I couldn't even walk. Like going in a mall or walking, I had to hold on to somebody to even walk. And what the guy at the ear, nose, and throat doctor specialist said, because you're a martial artist, right? And I said, yeah. He goes, Start doing your patterns. Because the best thing you can do is do your katas, your patterns, and do those forms. And when I was done, I had better balance because I had to reset my entire balance. But now I'm resetting my balance as a martial artist going for a 3rd degree black belt. And my balance, although it's not the highest balance you can possibly have, and I still can fall off a waveboard or whatever, or I can't do a skateboard down the stairs, but I was able to do martial arts better. It improved what I had because I got the second chance on that. And I could never kick on the left side like a jump spin kick, and I was able to do both sides easily.
Very good. That's, yeah. And it's interesting because it's a lesson that babies, could you imagine if babies quit the very first time they wanted to walk? It's like, okay, I'm going to walk. And then they fell in the very first time. I'm done.
Exactly.
But we as adults, somewhere in our journey, we take on a new language, a new whatever, and the minute, and many, not all, but many people quit the very first time because they have this unachievable expectation to master the very first time they're out. And they, I don't think that they have honored that failure is one of the greatest teachers that we've ever had. And when we embrace our failures, it can only make us better.
Right. And you ask anybody that's done that. I mean, from the greatest inventors, and Edison, how many times he failed on the light bulb and all those things. And there's great stories out there of those failures for that one success, but that's the chance. And I took a chance and was given a gift from my first time meditating, and that was by, I don't know if it was just sheer coincidence, pure luck, or what, but it felt like your first time you're at bat and you're getting a grand slam in the World Series. Thank God I didn't fail that day, because I failed all the way up until that point.
And you alluded to it in the beginning when you said that you could just throw words to a piece of paper and who are you to be a writer? But you didn't give up. And then through a great community that you created and you were part of, books have gone bestseller for you. Same with me. The very first time that I gave my written word to an editor, I said, holy F word, I can actually write and it's good. And people were drawn into it. I'm like, holy smokes. And it brought tears to my eyes. And I just, in my wildest dreams, I never imagined that this could happen to just me. This was part of, life. And I don't know about you, but I bawled like a baby the very first time I held a printed copy of my first book.
Well, it wasn't then, but it was when somebody came up to me and shared a story about when they read my book and how it changed them and saved them, and gave them the insights that they needed and inspired them to be better, those types of things. But you never know. You put the stuff out there, and then when people come back, and it's I look back at that book, and I could rewrite those stories so much better at my handling of dialogue and my approach, but it's practice too. So you can't go back and fix the old. You've got to move forward, and that's the other journey of writing. You write and you improve by practicing, just like in martial arts, just like anything you do. The more that you practice, you can't just get shown something once and then think you're an expert at it. You've got to go and do it.
Yeah,
I love hearing you say that, because I truly believe that's one of the secrets to success, is not just doing something once. I can't tell you the amount of times I worked with Tony Robbins for many years, and through that time coached a lot of clients and all that, and they really believe that, yep, I'm going to do something once, and you're just going to tell me once, and it's going to be absolutely perfect, and everything's going to be great. And then they wonder why they're not succeeding when they're not practicing on what it is that they know. It takes that practice. It takes those, and I don't even call it a failure. I just simply call it an unexpected outcome. It's just an unexpected outcome. It's not the outcome you expected. Great. What's the opportunity here right now for us to take this and move it forward and do it better next time?
And you know what the funniest thing is about my journey with this?
Yeah.
So I read all these words, basically telling everybody how to connect and trust and believe and have faith and all those things. And then the day I'm losing it, one of my things will pop up in my Facebook feed, or I'll come across my own words, and I'll be like, dude, you're not even listening to yourself. What are you doing? You wrote this.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can all head down that funnel, and it's you know, life is full of surprises. It's full of the unknown, and we're all stuck in this right now, you know, and you know, it's not improving, you know, over the holidays. And you know, we're in, I don't like to call it a lockdown because it's a pause, you know, just like giving it a break. But in dealing with the COVID, there's been many blessings that have happened for me through that personal. Just I got to know myself better. I've had time to think about a lot of things. I've also had time to build relationships, and I wouldn't have had that time otherwise. So there's really, you know, you got to look at the silver linings and things. And yeah, it's hard. I can't say, you know, every day is, yay, it's great. We're going to go out there and not see anybody. But, you know, you got to get through. And there's ways, you know, like you said, the walks are getting out in nature and connecting and seeing things. And I have this little walk where it's near a golf course down here. So it kind of cuts up through the ocean, and then up on the other side, and have a beautiful view of the Pacific. And then there's these 4 Greek statues that are there. And I got back once, and I'm like, why does my hand smell like essential oil? I'm like, this is like, smells really good. And I realized my hand had brushed the pine or something that's lining that, and that was the smell. So now when I go by, I'm just raking my hand because it's awesome. And I'm like, but I visit the 4 ladies, and there's benches in there, and I can sometimes just meditate or sit, or you know, just have a little break from everything, and look out at the Pacific. I can see Catalina Island from where I am down here, and you know, just those things. And then hiking, I've done a lot. I was in you know, more exploring the United States, because you know, international travel is very difficult, but you know, some beautiful parks and areas where there's no one around. You can just go and have peace in those areas, and really take in what we have in this country, in this continent, on this side.
Yep.
Excellent. And I just got caught into the I'm just processing the beauty to that. So I'm like, reel me in, I'm lost, guys.
He was out in the forest.
We were with you. We were there.
Well, because he's thinking Canada and U.S. or something. I don't know.
No,
we can't get across the border, buddy. Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah. And I was thinking that this show is a perfect example. It was born out of the pandemic, because Jamie and I were tired. I'm putting words in Jamie's mouth, but we were tired of all the negative aspects around it, and we just said, this is crap. There has to be a positive way to deal with this. And so we went, well, let's create it. And it was like on whatever, it could have been on Thursday morning, let's do this, or maybe it was Tuesday or Wednesday, let's do this. And then Friday, because we wanted some other guests, it was like, boom, we had this show.
Yeah, and it's great to be able to share a smile out there. So some, you know, friend of mine left this on my computer a while ago, but I have a little, you know, there's the smiley wink button.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just gotta do that. I also have this key just in case you're coding. It's the every keyboard needs one of those. Why not? You know, it's like, what are you doing? Push that key and it fixes everything.
Exactly. And that's the magic behind it, when you can just take a moment to breathe, take a moment to relax, and realize that we are here. You know, we're in, you know, one of the most economically stable countries in the entire world, and continents in the entire world. It's an amazing, absolutely incredible place to be. Yes, there's some things going on right now that no one particularly likes, maybe more than a couple of things going on right now. But the real truth behind it is when you can find the beauty in each and every moment, in each and every day, you've really got something to hold on to. If we get too sucked into the news, right? Because what's news? If it bleeds, it leads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get sucked into that. We want to recognize the things that really truly matter, being out in nature, being alive, taking in the beautiful areas of exactly where we are. That's beauty in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had there was a restaurant, so all the restaurants had closed, so they did sort of a ability to have takeout and still use the tables because they were on public property and they were still socially distanced. They just couldn't serve you at them, and you'd clean it yourself and do those things. And was there with some dear friends, and some other people in the movie industry were there, and I actually met Ralphie from A Christmas Story, the guy who was Ralphie, and his wife and children. And I'm looking at him like, I know that guy from somewhere, but he's when he grew up, but same face. Yeah. But it was, it's near, and I wasn't really feeling Christmas, at that moment. And all of a sudden that just brought it in, just seeing him and talking to him for a few minutes. It was great.
Nice.
When we really, for me personally, when I really go quiet and allow myself to look at the miracle of life, like all the goodness. Yes, there's things that I wish were different in my life, but when I really look at life and appreciate it and come from a place of gratitude that I have food on my table, I have money to be able to pay for the Canadian heat bills in Calgary, I have a loving wife, I have good friends that I can share really deep conversations with. My life is wonderful and whole, and yet I still want more, but there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not. And you present something which is practicing gratitudes and those types of things. And sometimes I try to do a prayer every night, and I haven't, like recently, it's just I have so much stuff going on, and I just realized, oh my God, I stopped my gratitudes, and I gotta my intentions and setting those things, and I need to put that back in there because I am grateful for so many things. And when I was walking today, I was thinking about, I have this amazing son, and I have, a foreign exchange daughter, and sort of an adopted daughter to me, and she, didn't really know her father, so we're still connected, and I get messages every once in a while, and she lives in Germany. And I'm just so blessed to have these people and family. And I'm so blessed to have a son and a daughter like that in my life, and, messaging me, and we're talking and getting, guiding him. And I did a great hike with him a couple weeks ago when he came out to visit. So those are blessed moments, having that time.
Completely.
Absolutely. And it always amazes me for the business people, and I'm painting you and Jamie with the same that have had successful businesses, are running successful businesses, and yet how easily and well you bring in your heart into your businesses. And it's like, you're doing your business, but you're doing the heart-based. You are bringing your heart and soul into your business, and yet, and at the same time, the heart and soul is part of who you are. So it's just beautiful that people are evolving. Like, I know two wonderful humans that are heart-based entrepreneurs, and Robert and I belong to a group called the Evolutionary Business Council, which is full of heart-based business people. And soon Jamie will come, and he will come to the light side and quit skirting on the dark side.
Has he been watching Mandalorian? Could be. I don't know. The with that, the heart-based part of it. And I ran a marketing firm for 30 years, and then, sold everything, and I was managing partner with my ex-wife, and just we had this amazing business for all these years. And now I'm just out on my own doing consulting and different projects for marketing. But I have all that experience, but I'm no longer chained to a desk. So I have this freedom right now, and it actually happened right when COVID. So, this kind of freedom that's there, and everybody sort of has it. So I don't feel weird, that, okay, I can't go into the office, I can't do this. And it was just the right time. So it's one of those silver linings with COVID that, okay, this is just how everybody's doing everything now. So I'm good. We all have to work remotely, and don't feel odd, I don't feel like the odd man out on that side. And so all these things will bring perspective, and that's one of the things, and I have words, from the words are, we never know the great picture God paints for us because we're always standing upon the canvas. Sometimes what we see around us may not make sense and may be dark or murky, but we need to trust that image is beautiful. The only thing that we can ever change about that picture is how we frame it. And sometimes the frame is even more beautiful than the image itself. If you've been to a museum, there are frames sometimes that are worth more than the paintings that are in them.
Yep.
They're more ornate, sometimes elaborately carved, beautiful.
Yeah.
And we never see the big picture in the canvas. And I struggle sometimes in my life because I want to see the whole canvas. And I've been shown parts of it. Probably more than most people. And what happened to me when I was touched by the angel in the forehead, it's like I've been plugged into heaven. So I know what that love feels like, and trying to get back to that and find it here in this world. And it's like, there's a big party going on, and I want to be part of the party because I know I was shown. I was like, they said, look in here, but I have to trust that the image is beautiful and that there's always something that fits and why something happens. Maybe you didn't get this job, maybe you didn't get this, or whatever it was that you thought, but because this was supposed to happen, or you're supposed to be here, or you're going to learn this lesson so that you can be better later, but you don't see it at the time. And some people, I've worked with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and some people took the time out and went out because they didn't wait for that picture to unfold. And I remember seeing a quilt with all these amazing, beautiful faces on it. And I was like, oh my God, all these people had committed suicide. And it really struck me that, we need to, be there for each other, but you need to reach out. And sometimes it's hard to ask for help when you need it. And my grandmother had a great saying. It was, if something bad happens to you, tell everyone because they'll take a piece with them. But if something good happens, hold it in for a little while so you can just enjoy all of that before you give it out to everybody else, so you can recharge yourself. And my volunteer work has always done that for me. Getting out there and giving.
I'm looking at our clock, and I'm actually starting to get a little pouty here because we're getting close that we need to end. Because Jamie needs to run off because he's on another call on Insiders Elite. And what are you guys talking about? You and Mick, what are you and Mick talking about today?
We've got a neat one picked up today. We're going to talk a little bit about branding. We're going to talk a little bit about that message that you're sharing out there and creating that know, like, and trust factor to really bridge the gap to get you all the sales and more that you could ever want. So we're pretty excited about jumping into that, sharing some thoughts and ideas around that.
Excellent. I thought I had brought the background graphic in, and I didn't, and I'm like, but I made one. I made it to fit to where our Best You Can Be and our UE coaching logos were. Next time.
Next time. We got it.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I'm a little bit pouty. So back in the green room when Robert and Jamie and I were talking, I was supposed to actually get the information from Robert. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you if they want to learn more about you?
Yeah, my website is Guide to the Soul, so it's TOTHESOUL.com. So Guide to the Soul. And all my social media links are on there. There's a contact form and everything you need to connect. And I got links off to everything. So guidetothesoul.com is a place where you'll find me.
Perfect.
And Jamie, where are they? What's good for you today for the people to get a hold of you?
Best way to get a hold of me is I've got numerous ways. You can look me up on social media. It's one of the best and most effective ways. Look me up, Jamie Adamchuk. You throw that in there, you'll get a whole schwack of stuff of ways to contact me. Facebook's the best. UE Coaching is definitely my website. That's going through a bit of an upgrade right now, so we're waiting to get that up and running. I'm excited about the new site that's coming. But yeah, quickest, most effective, fastest way, get me on Facebook. You'll get me right away.
Excellent. And for me, since most of you have found me, because you're being played on my page or my business page, you already know how to get hold of me. And after the new year, Jamie and I are going to announce a YouTube page for us, but not till after the new year. But you can probably see a preview of it. And yeah, so at this point in time, we historically end with just a heartfelt share. What would we would like to leave our viewers, because those that will find us on the YouTube, those that will find us on social media. It goes on to podcast by usually by Monday. It's up on podcast, so it's on iHeartRadio, it's on iTunes, it's on Google Podcast, Spotify. So we've run the gambit, so it's in all of those locations. So we asked everyone just to leave with a heart few. So I'll go first, and then Robert, if you could go next, and then we'll leave Jamie to clean us up here or to ship us out. And when Jamie's done, I'll hit the little video again, and then we will be done. So in this crazy, uncertain times, I ask you, beg of you, pursue your dreams relentlessly. Don't give up. You are worthy of all your dreams. You are worthy of the life of your dreams and fulfillment. Love deeply, love freely, and love openly. And with that, thank you.
Well, mine is pay attention to the little moments in life, and know that you're part of something greater. It's just, we're all connected. And I wrote something up that I can read. It's be the light. It's true that most of the universe is dark, empty, and cold, but in the midst of it, it's true that it's also where you'll find stars. And anywhere a star is shining, you'll find celestial light, warmth, and quite often an abundance of life. And these precious lights can guide you home, but they can also shine to teach you to be that much brighter, so you can become a star to help guide others home too. And part of that is being connected that way and being the light to help others. And you need to be the light for yourself too. And I guess that's a lesson I'm learning myself these days, is I need to shine inward too. And you need to look at all those things and be humble in everything that you are and how you can help others.
Absolutely. My words are simple today, is take a moment for you. Take a moment to be able to look inside, to reflect, because truly believe that everything that you need, that all the answers that you seek, when you take that moment for yourself to look into yourself, when you search hard enough and you search deep enough, you'll find them, because they're already there.